So this is going to be moderated by Caroline Barry of Cannavist magazine. And the following panel is going to be Sex Advocacy in Bed with Social Media Marketing, New Frontiers in 2021 with Nenna Joyner, founder of Feelmore Adult, Heather Montgomery, founder and CEO of PleaseMe.com, and Anna Richards, founder of Frolic Me. So the panels are coming up. Say a lovely big hello to our audience at the Sex Tech 2020. We've got a wonderful panel for you next. It would like to introduce it. It is the Sex Advocacy in Bed with Social Media Marketing, New Frontiers for 2021. My name is Calandra Balfour, and I'm co-founder of Love Giver, the sex positive social media and e-commerce platform. I'd like to introduce you my guests, Nenna Joyner, Heather Montgomery, and Anna Richards. Hey everyone, how are you all today?
Good, thank you.
Fabulous, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us at the panel at Sex Tech 2020. I'm really, really excited to hear what you all have to say. So if you'd like to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Anna Richards.
Hi guys,
I'm
welcome
the founder
to
of
the panel today on
which
CBD
is an erotic
and sexual
platform
wellness.
that I launched back in
my name is Caroline Barry, and I'm a journalist with the Cannavist magazine in the UK.
Porn films.
We are a
with
magazine
feminist
that focuses
porn vibe. Publish erotic stories, have audio porn, beautiful imagery, and an online magazine.
Brilliant.
Hi, my name is Nenna Joyner. I own Feelmore Adult in Oakland and Berkeley. Started out maybe 2010 with the physical locations, but I've been in the adult business before.
Welcome to the panel today on CBD and sexual wellness. My name is Caroline Barry, and I'm a journalist with the Cannavist magazine in the UK. We are a magazine that focuses on CBD and medical cannabis. I would like to thank Sex Tech Berlin for inviting us to moderate this panel on CBD and sexual wellness, and introduce my guests, Raven Faber and also Buck Angel, and invite them to join me on the panel.
Cool. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hi, Buck. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. It's 6 o'clock at night in the UK at the moment, so you might have to bear with me after a long day. So
no, I feel no judgment here, none whatsoever. We got
COVID.
Kids and like COVID and
yeah, we got kids and COVID. It's a big thing.
That is absolutely no joke. So I'd like to start with some introductions, so that if there's anybody out there that isn't sure who you guys are, what you do, what CBD is, that we just give them a quick introduction. Raven, would you like to start?
Sure. I need an introduction because I'm still on the come up. So yeah. My name's Raven Faber. I am the founder and CEO of EngErotics. EngErotics is short for Engineered Erotics. And we were actually, as I was telling you in the green room, we were at the Cannavist party back in February. We won Best CBD Topical for our Au Nectar massage oil. So we got one last party in before all this, all that stuff. So yeah, I founded the company in 2016, and we're just, weathering our way through COVID as a canna sex tech company. So it's been an adventure.
Fantastic. And Buck, what about yourself?
So I really started in the sexual wellness space 20 years ago. I created the genre of trans male pornography. And with that, I really got sucked into sexual wellness. And then through that, I found CBD. As a person who is sober and doesn't use drugs and alcohol for 30 plus years, getting into the cannabis world was, sort of iffy for me, being a sober person. But finding CBD as an alternative to sort of like a psychotropic space was amazing. And so then I got into it, and I couldn't even believe this stuff look at me. Every time I talk about CBD, I'm like, everyone needs to be using CBD. I just
Agreed.
can tell you it. Yeah, it is. I feel so blessed to be in the industry. Look at Raven, all these amazing people are in it. No, seriously. And there's a lot of women in it, which I'm really very, very happy to see that.
Yeah.
Right? Where we really get to promote women of color, all kinds of different kinds of women, trans. It's just amazing. So for me, CBD has been now a part of my business. So now it's moving into sexual wellness through CBD has been a big part of my business.
Yay.
Fantastic. I mean, Buck, I've interviewed you before for the Cannavist for, I think, what was our last issue before COVID hit.
Yeah.
So feels like a million years ago now. But okay, so Raven, I'd like to start with yourself.
Sure.
How do you feel CBD can promote sexual wellness?
Oh my gosh. That's a big answer. There is so much that CBD is capable of doing when it comes to enhancing the sexual experience. And that's really where I start, because most people that learn about CBD, they think you have to be in pain, right? Like, oh, well, what's CBD going to do for me? Like, I don't have any sort of pain. Well, you don't have to have any sort of pain. I mean, CBD is a vasodilator. So, I mean, for everybody who doesn't know what that means, that, it opens up your blood vessels so you can get more blood flow of fresh oxygenated blood into the area. So this helps to promote things like increased lubrication, increased sensitivity, not to mention what it does for you on a neurological level, plugging into your endocannabinoid system and that overall sense of relief and wellness, so you can get out of a bad headspace into a good headspace, so you can actually get off. And for people who actually have, conditions, I mean, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm an engineer. However, there are many people out there that suffer from things like vaginismus, vulvodynia, endometriosis. And there are people out there that are using CBD for that, just so that they don't have pain during their sexual experience, which is huge, so there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, getting off is part of it, of course, but, on a much deeper level, helping to restore dignity and quality of life, sense of self. I mean, all of those tie into, yourself as a sexual being, so yeah, that's the short answer, the really short answer.
It was a great answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
I do agree with you. I've interviewed people with endometriosis in particular over the last year, and the amount of pain relief that they've gotten from CBD is incredible. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it truly is amazing, and it's just it sounds really cliche, but life-changing for many people, life-changing. And as a business owner, as a consumer, life-changing. Like, whoever CBD touches, I mean, pun intended, it does have the capacity to change your life. So yeah, it is an incredible thing to be involved with.
And Buck, I'm going to ask you about, you mentioned earlier on about diversity within the CBD industry. Mm-hmm. How do you feel that CBD companies can align themselves with the LGBT community in particular when it comes to sexual wellness?
So that's an excellent question. Thanks for asking that. So my company does specifically deal with the LGBT community, and I do that because there wasn't. Now people are starting to, but when I started 5 years ago with my CBD and my cannabis stuff, there wasn't anybody focusing on the LGBT community. So I stood up to that because really people, I want to do a little backstory here. People don't understand that the legalization of cannabis in the United States came from the gay community. And that's because of HIV and AIDS. 30 years ago, we had a drug called Marinol that was legalized through the pharmaceutical company because of gay men and AIDS. And so people don't know the backstory about the fact that the gay population is the one that legalized cannabis in the United States. So that being said, I really feel like we as an LGBT community need to be involved in this particularly magical medication that can literally change people's space. And what Raven was talking about in general for myself and the LGBT community, specifically trans men, CBD helps with us in our vaginal atrophy that happens or dryness that happens with use of testosterone. This has been a really huge part of my work in talking about, I'm a man with a vagina. It's not an easy space to be in, but that being said, I have a vagina and I can't pretend like I don't have it. And so there's many, many men like me, and we need to talk about these things. And by using CBD, we can actually talk about our own transgender health within the CBD community. That's something that's not being talked about. I'm kind of like the only one doing that right now. So I need my voice. By giving me a platform like this, it gives my voice that space for people to see how important it is that we as a community can also benefit from not only using it, but also creating jobs, creating businesses, creating space for all of us, because this is going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I think marginalized communities need to be a part of this. And I come from a marginalized community. And so I'm very blessed in the sense that I got to create a business and I'm an entrepreneur, but not everybody gets to get in that space. So I think by people like Raven and I being in this, we're able to show our communities, hey, look, you can do this too. And this product is so powerful and amazing. And I'm all about natural medicine. So that being said, it's a natural medication, which is totally awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In a nutshell.
The short answer. I have to commend both of you for that as well. Like in particular, Buck, interviewing you before, and as a member of the LGBT community myself, I applaud you for being vocal on that as well, because it genuinely, there are not enough minority voices within the canna industry, and there needs to be.
Representation
100%.
is so important. Representation is so important. I mean, like we're finally in an age, like, my kids, like my daughter has a book that's all about, I love my hair, and my kids have books that say, I love my brown skin. And I didn't have that when I was a little girl. Like I'm 34 years old. So, I was coming of age, through the 90s, and I was 14 years old in the year 2000. We didn't have any of that. Like I didn't see women that look like me being engineers, leading companies, and we still have a long way to go. So representation, so important. So important.
Especially, I'm going to say it as a white dude, people of color. Come on, man. Let's talk about this. People of color in prison. Whether or not you're a person of color or not, we have people in prison, but the majority being people of color who are in there for cannabis. Are you kidding? Like me and you are making money off of it. People are in prison. And this is not, that's why we really need to talk about it. And I really love seeing people of color, LGBT, marginalized communities given the opportunity to create. It will change their lives. Just give people an opportunity to change their lives. They will become a great part of our community. They'll become part of society. Isn't that what we want? We want people to be great in society. We give people opportunities and they become amazing people.
And I know we have specific questions, but I have to add that intersectionality is so important. Right. So, being at the intersection of being a woman and being Black. And then there are like Black women who are also lesbian. There are Black women who have transitioned. There are, we got Buck here and he's a man with a vagina. That's a huge intersection. And it's like, it's not black and white. It's not this or that. It's not male or female. It is like very, very, very fluid. And And, you know, historically, especially now, we're seeing it now for cannabis companies, a lot of the funding, a lot of the investment money from VCs, from angels, are going to heterosexual, cisgendered white men.
That's right.
And, you know, women like me, individuals like Buck, like it's not, you know, Buck's got a platform though. Like I've known about him. Like I'm gonna be on this panel with Buck Angel. Like I didn't want to find somebody else who was famous. Okay, right?
But you know, I had to climb my way. Being in the porn business, people look at you like you're trash when you work in the pornography business. It was not easy for me to get to this space. But anyways, who cares? I'm the fighting kind of dude. So
I care.
I mean? Yeah.
We care. We care.
Thank you.
So my next question is kind of directed for both of you, and it's, what's the best way for somebody who might be curious about CBD for sexual wellness? What's the best way to enter what is sort of a niche or potentially intimidating space?
Shameless plug. The best way is to either shop with me or Buck. That's the best way. You just come see us. That's the best way. But I mean, you know, just not really kidding. Just kidding. Sorry, you know, whatever. But you know, in general, personal recommendations and doing your due diligence is so important, because CBD is not regulated for quality or safety. It's the same type of thing with sex toys, which is why I got into Canna Sex Tech as an engineer. There's nothing holding manufacturers accountable for quality or safety. So it is so important to do your research, to do your due diligence, to ask a friend what has been working for them. Where do I shop? What brands have been working for you? You know, follow reputable companies, follow me, follow Buck, you know, follow EngErotics, like whatever. You know, and then experiment. Like once you find a good recommendation, you know, get those products, you know, get enough education about the products, like, this might work, but just know that we're all different. We're all built differently. Like CBD, that's the beauty about CBD. Like, you know, the fun is really in the experimentation, in my opinion. So some people really love them, some topicals. Some people like to incorporate like a gummy or a tincture or vape, you know, into their foreplay. And that's cool. That is super cool. So yeah, due diligence, experiment, like in a nutshell.
I mean, basically, you just answered the question. I mean, the thing I want to add is what you already said was, not all CBD is created equal. Not all companies are held to standards. Not everyone cares about what you're getting. They only care to make money, like any business out there. And any business that's on its way to make $1 billion, you don't think anybody and everybody's just jumping in the game? Of course they are. So that's why you need, same with sex toys. People just make junk out there. So you can literally go buy a $10 sex toy, or you can buy a $200 sex toy, and that's what's going to creation. Now, I'm going to tell you that price point in CBD doesn't always make it a better or worse product. Exactly what Raven said. You got to do your due diligence, and there's so many places to choose from. There really is. So you got to think, what kind of company do I want to support? Because I do think that's a big deal. When I shop anywhere, I always look at the back end of that company. Where do they put their money? Where's it coming from? Where's it going? Those are very important parts of, especially the cannabis business. Are they supporting LGBT? Are they supporting people of color? Are they supporting marginalized communities? For me, that's an important part of a company message. And so really just exactly what Raven said, and I'm just putting on, not all companies are created equal.
They're really not. And I'm really happy that you brought up the price point, because, you know, for us, we're e-com. We don't have I don't have a desire to have a brick and mortar store. So we don't have the sort of bills and overhead that a brick and mortar store would. I work wherever my kids go and my laptop goes. That's where my office is. Like my office has been all across the country, like in every room of the house. And so we don't have to, like, our prices don't reflect like, hey, we got to make rent. Hey, we got to keep the lights on. Like, we have a small team. We're a bootstrapped company. We can stay really, really competitive with our prices while offering a superb product. I mean, of course, I'm biased, but superb.
Oh no, you have a superb product. No, you have a superb product. I know that about you. So I'm telling you, I've been in the game for a long time. You're an awesome company. So I'm going to give you a plug there. No, I'm not kidding. And really, I believe in your product. It's excellent. Excellent product.
Tell everybody. Tell everybody. Tell all your fans. We just got over.
That? You actually created your own business. You weren't whining, blah, can't do anything. You literally went and did it, and you still do it every day. You work hard to create that space.
I didn't have a choice. It was
well,
either
you
do
did
that or
you did
be
have a
miserable.
choice. But you did have a choice. You had a choice to lay down and cry about it, or you had a choice to pick yourself up and make something of you. Look at that. That's
oh my goodness.
Powerful.
Right here in the feels.
Powerful.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you to say. Thank you.
That's it's a fantastic end to the panel. I'm definitely feeling the love from that one. Guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Is there anything that you'd like to plug quickly before you go? Raven, start with yourself.
Sure. I mean, we are, we're available in a few stores right now. Adam and Eve just picked us up. And then there's another, thank you. Another erotic boutique down south in Kentucky that'll be opening soon. I would really like to plug our award-winning O Nectar massage oil. It won Best CBD Topical at USA CBD Expo earlier this year before COVID kicked off. And I was at the Cannavist launch party. It was amazing. It is fantastic. So go check it out.
Excellent. So I'm just going to say this real quick. I got the buckshot. So look at this. Google it. This stuff is amazing. It's the very first erection drink with CBD on the market in the whole wide world. I can't keep the guys away from this. I literally sell out of it daily. There's my little plug, the buckshot. Don't forget that.
I'm not going to give that to my husband because we've been in the house since March and it's like, man, I'd be tired. All right.
That's right. Animal.
You know,
you animal.
I can't have him running around here with a permanent erection. You know, like.
And on that note,
thank you, everybody.
Guys. Thank you so much. It's lovely to meet you. Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you and welcome. I'd just like to say a lovely big hello to our audience at the Sextech 2020. We've got a wonderful panel for you next. It would like to introduce it. It is the Sex Advocacy in Bed with Social Media Marketing, New Frontiers for 2021. My name is Calandra Balfour and I'm co-founder of Love Giver, the sex positive social media and e-commerce platform. I'd like to introduce you my guests, Nenna Joyner, Heather Montgomery, and Anna Richards.
Hi.
Hello there. Hi, everyone. How are you all today?
Good, thank you. Fabulous, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us at the panel at Sextech 2020. I'm really, really excited to hear what you all have to say. So if you'd like to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Anna Richards. I'm the founder of frolicme.com, which is an erotic platform that I launched back in 2015. And I produce erotic porn films with a feminist porn vibe, publish erotic stories, have audio porn, beautiful imagery, and an online magazine.
Brilliant.
Hi, my name is Nenna Joyner. I own Feelmore Adult in Oakland and Berkeley. Started out maybe 2010 with the physical locations, but I've been in the adult business before that, actually producing content and also hosting events, erotic night events, art events around the Bay Area as well. And so, yeah, we're here in Oakland, California and Berkeley, California.
That's great. Thank you, Nenna. And just, is that the shop in the background?
This is the Oakland shop.
Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Great. Over to you, Heather.
Hi. Yes. Hi, I'm Heather Montgomery. I'm the president and founder of pleaseme.com. And we also are social media for sexual exploration anonymously and for connecting brands with the advertising and marketing they so desperately need today with social media the way it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Coming at you from Florida.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. So I'll dive straight in with the questions. So first of all, Anna, you're a huge advocate for mental wellness. In times of isolation, the extreme example being the coronavirus pandemic, do you think self-pleasure can be a lifeline?
Hugely so. I mean, it's been very strange times, and for some of us out there, you know, our intimacy with loved ones, partners, and so on has also been very challenged as well. But I think what this actually brought about was how self-pleasure is actually putting sex very much in the health. You know, sex should be very much have a foot in the health and wellness, and not just be seen in how, you know, historically people kind of have viewed sex. And actually just the situation now of women such as ourselves all coming together to see the benefits of sex merging together with tech, and actually how that can support our health and well-being. So, you know, for us, I've always been a huge champion of masturbation, and actually many of my films are actual masturbation or solo sex films where I very much promote the wellness and positivity that can come from self-pleasure or solo sex. So even if you have found yourself sort of isolated, the benefits of actually igniting that sort of sexuality within yourself is hugely important for your mental well-being and your sexual well-being too. So, you know, within our solo sex films, I have a lot of models who I work with actually promote that sort of benefits and actually do sort of talk to camera and talk about what it is to masturbate, how it should feel, and to try and sort of explore that whole, you know, the understanding of intimacy with yourself. So, I mean, there's been a lot of knowledge now put on the benefits that sex can bring you, you know, from being happier, healthier, help with your stress, balance your those feel-good hormones that are so critical. So, yeah, I mean, we're hugely supportive of just the positivity of self-pleasure.
Oh, that's great. And I think actually we're all champions of that in our own way, in different ways that they all overlap. But that's great. I didn't actually realize that you know, what you was talking about, your performers during the film, actually really talking about the benefits of masturbation and giving tips and techniques. So it's almost taking a bit of an education slant on it without being, you know, still being porn and fun. But yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's about creating an erotic vibe as well, because, you know, desire is one of those things that comes from sort of liberating the erotic imagination. So sometimes, you know, I'm a huge one for saying, you know, sex toys are fantastic, and I use sex toys in a lot of our films, both in couples or group sex scenarios, or even, as I said, solo sex masturbation films. But also sometimes just getting in that zone, feeling that sort of that onset of desire and that pleasure, and how do you get aroused? And so for me, visual stimulus is that other sort of tool, as it were, in the sex box of tricks, you know. So having using sort of sex toys with a visual stimulus, does really, really help people.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll move on to my next question to Nenna. Your social advocacy and your sex toy company appear deeply intertwined. How has social media, and which sites in particular, either supported and or impeded your voice?
Wow, that's a great question. Especially, you know, just we're all dealing in the body, we're all dealing in sex, and it seems like there's so much regulation around the body that it hampers anyone who's looking to holistically change someone's outlook around their body, and the holistic suppression that's happened around the sex and sex education is very clear. And so the mediums that actually have supported what I've done, I can't really say any of them have supported it, because, you know, you have Facebook that actually is the conglomerate who bought Instagram. So now they're the same terms and uses on their policies are the same. Then you have Twitter that, you know, Tumblr died. Twitter kind of took over where Tumblr was. And then you also have TikTok. When TikTok came about, I started to get onto TikTok, and it was like all of my posts, if you look into your view on TikTok, all of my posts are Black, which means they violated community guidelines. So I really don't have much content on TikTok. So what I do is I'll create content on TikTok, I'll download it and put it up on other spaces. But what I've learned around TikTok in spaces that are very, very strict as far as guidelines is to learn how to translate what I do differently. And I think sometimes we just want to put it in the space of someone like, this is a water cup, you know, but how can we translate a water cup to look like something else that is translatable and relatable to very different age groups, demographics, you know, world, countries, and really make it to where we can monetize that. And so I've used all of those platforms to create an identity, a different voice, learning how to chop it up and repurpose the content. It's like in the early days of porn. I don't mean like early days of porn, like VHS, but the early days of porn actually transferring over to the internet, where what they would do is they would create the porn, they put it on a DVD, then it would be pirated, right? So what they did was they created the porn, they created the DVD, but then they would do the DVD, they would release the DVD 3 months and then have snippets and then release the DVD, because they knew that they were only going to get 3 to 6 months play out of it. So learning how to repurpose that content for different industries, different platforms, has given me an idea that we can make it possible. For example, one of the things that we've done, which is really popular for us, is out-of-home marketing, which is billboards. And so we've used billboards, and just even that platform has really like taken everything in my soul to come out with a message that would have double entendres, just like in the rap industry. You know, rap is like you're saying something, but you're not saying something. So with the billboard, I have to come out with things. For example, I'm in America, and so a lot of violence has happened around gun violence. A lot of violence has happened at the hands of police brutality. And so how can I, as an African-American person, play in that space, but also talk about how endeared it is to me to make sure that I get home, you know, just being male presenting. And so came up with this billboard one day after Mike Brown was killed. And police at that time were militarizing in our city, Oakland Police. And as they were marching in unison in a line down the street with a couple hundred, I was like, our bullets don't hurt. And someone next to me was like, wow, that sounds really powerful. And so I kept saying it. And then we were able to get that up onto a billboard. But now if I said vibrator, if I said orgasm, if I said anything else, you got to understand, like, it takes me months to get a message through. I have to go and do research on other billboards, what they've said, what I possibly can say in the wording, and get it out there. So I've learned how to get to market faster on the billboards. But, you know, our bullets don't hurt is a reference to the bullets, but they're also a double entendre to mean gun bullets. And so that right there has it's given us an opportunity to create social media content, because people are like, hey, look at this. I don't agree with this. I agree with this. Look at this. Or even conversations where it's not just about that's a sex store. They're like, what do they sell? So it's giving more opportunities and more digging for the consumer to find us, and also to really find what we do, not just find the products, which you see back here, but find what we do.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that tagline. That's great. I also like the way that it's also engaging slightly with a political idea as well. I think we can all talk for all of us that generally, I stay in terms of the business's voice and brand. I'm like, whoa, stay out of politics completely.
Absolutely.
But that's great that you're that you're bringing that in, especially it's making it current and relevant as well. And have you noticed an increase in sales over the COVID period?
Yeah.
A nice big retailer smile.
Yes, very, very nice retailer smile. It's getting, I just am very grateful for the opportunity to do what we were already doing. Before COVID, we were doing deliveries. We were using Postmates. We were delivering things to porches for older people who didn't have access to the internet. And so I really, at that time during COVID, gave us an opportunity to activate and to be pushed by the community, not just our own resources. So whenever the community, the culture gets fit, there's a vehicle that really is like a speed train that gets you there quicker. And then along the way, as a retailer, I was able to do some things like upgrade this, upgrade that, do these things. And it was able to take those monetary gains and, opportunities I'm very grateful for, but just really reinvested into the business and also be prepared for the next wave. Because what's happening right now for retailers is not just about what you got in that moment. Can you imagine being a sex shop and not being able to sell sex toys? Because there are no sex toys that you can get. Like, you can't get lube because people are just waiting online. As soon as they come back online, they're buying like 100 bottles of one type for one store, because it's going to be another month before you can get anything. So what's happening right now is, the demand went up. The demand probably is still up, but it's like now you're going to either have to raise the price, or you're going to have to bring in other inferior lube you may not even believe in, just to make sure you you can take that money.
And Heather, tell me, when you started Please Me, it was because you were curious and felt there was no safe and fun place online to learn and explore. Did you realize that you would also become a sex positive advocate?
I really didn't realize that in advance, except for that I knew I wanted to be a sex positive advocate for myself. Do you guys hear an echo?
I can. Maybe if people could just switch their mics off while we carry on.
Okay.
Or I could do it. Yeah? Try now, Heather.
Hello? Still an echo, I think.
How do you turn it off while you're on? That's a better question for me, because we have these headsets.
I think when you put your mouse over your square, there's a mute button that pops up. Testing 1, 2.
Try it now, Heather.
It's not. Oh, there it is again. Okay. I'll just take one out. Did we lose? Oh, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted myself.
There we go.
So I think we've lost Nina. Hopefully she'll rejoin us.
Okay.
But Heather, when you started Please Me, here she is. Did you realize that you'd also become a sex positive advocate?
I wanted to explore, but I wanted my anonymity. And that's why I designed the site to be anonymous. But the ironic thing is, I needed to be able to speak about it and be that voice of, it's okay, we should have permission, this is positive. So it was a struggle. But I did eventually overcome my fears and start telling my story with an open heart and full disclosure. So it's been fun. And I got to advocate for myself, which was really empowering. And then I was able to share that. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I think what you're saying there is, sorry, I've got the echo as well.
Yeah, I just took one out.
Yeah, so Please Me is also the Facebook of sex tech and sexual wellness and sex education. Desperately, desperately needed. Not only is there a huge opportunity here for global integration into these sectors, but to really start breaking down taboos. You're very outspoken about the pain of marketing on social media, which impede the industry at every turn, as we all know. What can we do to send the message to the social media giants that sex-related information is important and desired?
It's a funny question because I think the message that we send them is we go around them. I mean, we keep fighting against the giants, and it's gotten worse since Fasta Sesta, and then worse in the last 6 months. And I mean, they face challenges. They face civil and criminal litigation, and it's difficult to retrofit an entire software that you've built over the last 20 years that has 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds. And so we designed ours to fit the needs of the industry and have adults only and have you be anonymous. Because even on Facebook, I don't want to share my sexuality, not with my grandmother and my kids and my neighbor and my business associates. I just don't. And so even when I find something good, do I share it and repost it about pegging? Probably not. I mean, I'm just using an example. So what we did was allowed a way for companies to share in a PG-13 manner their brand and let all their followers know over here with the adults that are anonymous and looking for this information is where my deeper, more meaningful content is, where I can be my brand, where I'm not going to get shut down, and where I can retain the eyeballs of my 70,000 followers should my Instagram get shut down, right?
Yeah.
And so for every member that our channels bring over, we give them a new follower. They use a referral link. And we're like, if you build us, we're going to build you. We're going to introduce you to more people looking for your types of businesses and services. That way we all grow together and we build an ecosystem that can sustain itself. Yeah.
That's great. And you know, I think that the point that you make is what we're doing. We are having to work around it. There isn't really a way we can change their minds, I don't think. And you know, at one point I thought that the rules might be loosened as they, you know, people became more vocal about sex, and you know, in some ways our society is becoming a lot more liberal, but in other ways it just isn't. And I don't think anything's going to change. So, like you say, you've got to try and use it. And Anna, so tell me, did you see a spike in sales during the COVID period?
Yes, I mean, obviously being a digital site, we did find that we had a tremendous increase. As soon as we hit that sort of March, April time, we were up, interesting, about 43% up on females actually coming to the site. But we're very sort of female pro anyway. So, you know, we've always had high stats from women, but also the amount of time they actually spent on the site as well. So I can understand why, you know, you're locked down at home, you know, particularly if you're either on your own or maybe you are in a couple or whatever. It is something, it's sort of taking you out of that norm, you know, and you can for 10 minutes or so just switch off from the problems going on, and also to help engage in your own sort of sexuality as well. There's so much that you can learn and explore when you go into sort of positive porn sites. You know, unfortunately, there aren't so many positive porn sites out there, but there is so much you can ingest and get involved in sort of fantasies with genres and situations that you might not do in normal life, but this is a chance to sort of explore your own sexuality and kind of what turns you on, and therefore how to go on and enjoy better sex as well, but on a tasteful, trustworthy site. And I think that's what's really key, and something I've always felt very strongly about, is having a site that you could go onto without fear of, where am I going to bounce onto? What is this suddenly going to throw up at me? Can I actually trust making a payment here? Oh, and who actually is the person running the site? And, you know, my face is there. I'm on the front, and it is who I am. And I've done that as a sign to say, look, I'm also a woman, you know, and I did this out of my eyes of what it was I was looking for as a woman who wanted to engage in more sex and more interest and explore more. And there still aren't enough of us. And it's wonderful to see all you ladies there, you know, but we're still not enough of us to actually go out there and say, you know, we're looking at this through our eyes, through the sake of female pleasure, through consent, through a feminist gaze. And that's really, really important.
Oh my God, so important. You know, and like Heather, when you were saying that that at the beginning when you started your journey with Please Me, you know, you suddenly realized that you actually had to be upfront and personal yourself, like, and lose that anonymity that you kind of set out creating for yourself. It's a funny place that we end up. I've had the same journey myself. And Nina, so tell me about, do you have a like public persona yourself? Are you upfront and at the front of your brand, using your advocacy to feed into your retail and the other way around?
Yeah, you know, I've always wanted to separate the two, but I think it's very impossible, just the way social media and everything works. I think there's an advantage to staying out in front of your business. One of the things that I saw in the adult business was that people were always doing reviews on products, getting products sent to them, and just knowing that I own the space. Many of the reviewers out there don't look like me. And so that's another reason why I wanted to make sure that there was a one-to-one match, or it was someone within my team that was actually doing the reviewing and not just giving it to someone else to give them a product. Because as you're a smaller space, it took me years to even get samples. I mean, and with COVID, you're not getting many samples. So it's really hard to even send what you have for a product to someone to actually review. But the other thing I saw was that as I sent the product to get reviewed, our name for the business would be there, but the product would be very ubiquitous. They could find that product anywhere. It would be, you either had to be in Oakland or shop with us online, but that person who read that review can find that product any place. And so that's one of the reasons too why I don't do many reviews, because I'm actually working for the company that I'm buying the product for to sell. And I feel there's more value in me than it is in the product. So I don't want to uplift the product to the point where it actually overshadows who I am, because the value is more in what I do versus talking about a product. So it's also with social media, it's also allowed me to talk about, again, you know, the stifling of social media has allowed me to rebrand and to recharacterize what it is I do. Like, I do commercials. Like now with the work that I've done on social media, because I have to talk to a camera all day, every day, it's allowed me to tap into acting, comedy. I've hosted comedy that I've never thought about doing this stuff. I bomb all the time, but I still get up there because we would sponsor the show and it would make sense for me to close out the show. So with all of those things, it's really pushing me to be a better person. The better I get, the better the business gets. Then people trust what we do. They see me out. They don't see the product because I can't talk about the product again. So it's like this hush hush. Not so much as is a bad thing, but it's like advertising. It's like afterthought. So I wear my gear all the time. I wear my gear. I got tattoos. Everything it is, it's about Feelmore. Do you want to promote your business or do you want to promote the company's product, which is still going to sell, but you still have to create value within your into your business. So being brown is very popular right now. I don't know if you guys can be brown, but it's very, very popular right now. But just being who you are, being born in your skin just gives you an advantage. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, but it gives you an advantage that there's a unique perspective that you have to lend to anything that you do. And by proximity of what's going on in the United States, within my city, within my area, it's given me an opportunity to shine a little bit more than just working for someone.
Are you on mute?
Can't hear you.
Sorry.
Thank you. So we are running pretty close to time, but I just wanted to find out because Anna and myself are in Europe and you guys are in the States. So I'm just wondering, I mean, I think that the way that sex is taught in schools and at that level is really quite different to the way that things are over this side. And how does that affect how what you do? You know, do you find it more difficult because you're kind of against the system more?
Are you asking myself?
Heather, yeah.
Yes. So, sorry, somebody just. I told him 3:30. Yes, personally, I think we have a lot of work to do in the education in our schools in many ways. Children and emotional health, their inner critic, how they look at sex and sexuality, balancing a checkbook. I mean, they don't teach us how to live, and they certainly don't teach us anything about pleasure.
Yeah.
It's all reproductive. It's all STI and STD. And it's 1 year, and I think it's 8th grade, and that's it. And I didn't go to college, so I can't speak for our college, but through high school, very little. Yeah.
Right.
I'd say that's the same with a lot of sex education. The pleasure side is removed. It's everything that could go wrong with sex. But what about what can go right with sex? You know, why can't we actually look at sex from a pleasure perspective? And that's really critical, that we should just turn that on its head and actually start to understand.
And I think religion plays a part as well, because if it wasn't the lack of education, then it was the guilt and the shame if I wasn't doing it in marriage, and if I was masturbating. I mean, I think it was 40 before I started having regular orgasms, you know, because I just didn't know. I didn't know how to pleasure myself and didn't have the resources. And I've heard a lot of women my age and younger say the same things. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Nina, Heather, and Anna. We're going to go back to the audience in Berlin now for a bit of a live Q&A. But thank you very much. It's been really, really interesting to hear what you had to say.
Hello? I cannot hear you. Are you on mute? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Let's see. Cool. Hi. Hello.
Everybody. Oh wait, I think I need to put my other headphones on.
I'm hiding in my bedroom today because the kids are downstairs.
Hello there. Oh, that's better.
Hi.
Sorry. Hi there. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. That panel was great, and really lovely to have Caroline Barry in the chat as well. So now this is hopefully Buck will come back to us, but Buck, Angel, and Raven. Hello, Raven. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really good. How was did you do Thanksgiving? Do you do Thanksgiving over there? Like,
No. I haven't
okay,
had a
because we just
life.
had
I've been
Thanksgiving
doing this.
yesterday.
I've been
We just
doing
had
this.
Thanksgiving yesterday, so I'm kind of still on turkey hangover status today.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving to both of you.
Buck, how was your
So this is
Thanksgiving? Buck. Oh, he's frozen.
Oh,
Oh dear.
oh, let's see you, Buck. Well, I might just. I've got a question for you, actually, Raven. So I'm going to go straight into the questions because we don't have terribly long. But there's a question for you. How are you building your social media message, Raven?
Oh gosh. Well, it's a multi-step process because social media is kind of finicky, as we heard in the previous panel. And since we're a small company, I do all of our social media. We're a bootstrapped company. I don't have somebody managing it for me. So basically, what I like to do is lean heavily on our private Facebook group. And there's a link to it on EngErotics.com, and answer the questions and you can join. We have a heavy presence there. And that's where we interact directly with our followers, like on a personal level. So it's not like sending a DM to EngErotics. Like in the group, like you can talk to Raven, you can talk to Alicia, or you can talk to Dan, you can talk to anybody on the team directly. On Instagram, I try to tread lightly, like, we keep it suggestive, but, of course, no nudity or anything. It's tough. It's not easy. But I will say that by watching what other people do, like Nina was talking about, double entendre, being risque, but, like just enough not to get shut down. We just try to be consistent on that front, if that makes any sense. So it's not always easy, like especially since it's just me. There's the private group, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's Please Me, there's TikTok, there's all of these things, and somehow you have to manage them all. So for me personally, it's kind of like, okay, well, what am I going to post about today? Do I feel like posting? Do I have anything good to say that's relevant? And how am I going to frame this so that it makes sense for the brand? I don't really auto schedule my posts, and that's because when you do that, undoubtedly something's going to happen in the world where your marketing has all of a sudden become tone deaf. So I like to keep my finger on the pulse of society and, speak freely about Black Lives Matter, speak freely about equality, about equity, things that, that the brand can speak, because we stand for all of these things. And so I don't want to auto post something that's like, we're in the middle of all this civil unrest, and then a post comes out saying, hey, we're having a sale. That just doesn't like it doesn't make any sense. But a lot of companies do that. So that's like,
so insensitive. It just it was
it's
really
just,
jarring when that came out.
as a Black woman, I mean, it's, I'm one of those Black lives that matters. So it's very important for me and for Engineered Erotics as a whole to stand for something. Like, I didn't start this company just to push product, just to turn a profit. I started this company to make a difference and to create representation in a space where there really isn't any. So yeah, it's kind of a very delicate, nuanced dance, especially since you can't really talk about sex freely on Facebook or on Instagram or on TikTok or really anywhere, but you can on Please Me. So if you're not on Please Me, get with, talk with Heather. Heather, post your link again. Make sure you post the link. I have a referral link, but I don't have it here right now, so I don't know what it is. But you can talk about sex freely there, but in the mainstream, it's very, very, very difficult. So it is kind of a nuanced thing.
We don't, Buck Angel seems to be missing from our feed, but there's a couple of questions here that that someone asked. How does CBD applied topically work on a penis or a vagina?
Oh, that's a really good question. So so when you apply CBD, well, let me back up. When you're dealing with a sensitive area like the penis or the vulva, anything inside the vulva, you know, the vagina, the clitoris, the labia minora, you're dealing with a different sort of tissue that's highly absorbent. So it's not really the same as, like, you know, you put lotion on your arm. So that's the first thing you need to know. Oh, thanks, Dorothy. Dorothy posted my referral link. Thank you. That was so sweet of you. So basically what happens is that, you know, your topical gets absorbed into the dermal and subdermal layer, where it makes friends with the nerve endings down there. We all have an endocannabinoid system. And basically, you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm a structural engineer by profession. So I'm going to put this in layman's terms. And Heather of Please Me, she's got a medical background and she could explain this way better than I can. But we all have receptors in our system. So it's kind of like, you know, you've got like a plug that's waiting to receive a cannabinoid. So when you have a topical that gets absorbed into the dermal and subdermal layers, where it touches those nerve endings, it essentially docks there. Where you can get that, you know, whether it's pain relief, whether it's arousal in the case of, you know, a penis or a vagina. You know, disclaimer, not a doctor, but for in some cases where, you know, you may have a condition like endometriosis, fibromyalgia, vaginismus, getting that CBD into to dock with the nerve endings there is key, because then you're getting the effects on a neurological level, not just like, you know, on the surface of the skin. That's really important to recognize. So then that kicks all the other stuff into gear, whether it's pain relief, whether it's enhanced sensation, whether it's enhanced lubrication. And of course, your mileage may vary. Like every vulva is different. Every penis is different. You know, I have a vulva, Buck has a vulva, but our vulvas are not the same. Like we're two very different people. And so they may respond differently, you know, to CBD. They may respond differently to THC. Yeah, so that's a very important thing to recognize as well. So that's kind of like the shortish answer. You know, I hope that was okay.
No, that was really, really amazing and really instructional as well. And because with the rise of all the CBD products the past year or so, I think everybody has had that question as well. And to be honest, I'll trust the engineer over doctor any day. Honey, so.
No, don't do that. You know, I think though that it's very helpful. You know, when you have like doctors and engineers, this is actually a really good discussion that, you know, somebody said something very similar to what you just said.
I will just say you've got to go about 30 seconds for this, because we're going to have to move on to our next Q&A.
I mean, it's like we engineers, like, you know, we're really good at just, you know, telling you how things work. But doctors are going to have like the legit terminology, and they're going to be able to tell you if what you're using is going to conflict with anything, medications and stuff like that. So I got you up to a point.
Well, it got me to where I needed to be. So now I feel that I can explain that to customers who come into the shop wanting to buy CBD products. So thank you so much. So that brings us to the end of the Q&A. I'm sorry it was a bit short, but throughout the day we've had to make up a little bit of the time. And I'm sorry, Buck, if you're still there, that you've not been able to join us. And I was looking forward to crossing that one off on my bucket list. So
we can do this again. We'll get together again.
That's great. But thank you so much, Reverend Faber, and follow her on all the socials. You've got the Please Me link, and is it EngErotics on Instagram?
Look, 10% off on all of the things until the 30th. So get in there.
All right. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Bye.
Bye. So I'm going to take this moment while the next Q&A starts to just remind everyone that we've got loads and loads of giveaways happening later. So some of the brands that we're giving away are sexual wellness products from Satisfyer, our sponsor, Beducated, iPlaySafe app, Kokeshi AI, Ioba Toys, Lilo, and Lustry.com. And winners will be chosen based on the quiz game that will be taking place at the end of the day. So hang around for that. Whilst the other panelists turn up for the next questions, I'll also remind you about Berlinable. So Berlinable is a special project led by erotica publisher Giada Armani and Pornceptual Art Collective. Together they publish erotic writings by authors from around the world and advocate for sex as a source of inspiration. And there is a free subscription link which is available. I think Patricia might put it in the link down there. It's available on the website. But yeah, so now coming on to, and yeah, contribute. If you've been enjoying what you've been listening to so far, you know, €5, €10, a little thank you would really, really make a big difference. I know that I've really, really enjoyed this, and it's just been so fun, and reading everybody's feedback and questions and the other discussions which are happening all between you two is just brilliant. And this is what our industry is about. You know, it's wonderful. So coming on to our next panel. So we're waiting for two guests, Heather Montgomery from Please Me and Anna Richards from Frolic Me. We've got great. Hello, everybody.
Hi. Hi again.
Hi hello. Thank you so much. That panel was really, really interesting, and I've really enjoyed seeing the interactions in the chat as well. It's making this really feel like a conference. It's great. So I'm going to dive straight in with the questions because we don't have very long. So first of all, Cheryl had a really great question saying, let me see. I'm really looking for, okay, sorry, this is Faye, who said, I've realised I'm a sex positive advocate, but I'm not sure how to use my voice quite yet. Do you have any tips, Heather?
Wow. Hi, Faye. Thanks for having me in the chat. And amazing job, you guys. Really, the content has been fantastic.
Maybe move your mic maybe closer to your mouth, Heather.
Is it okay? I'm going to have to hold it in my hand. And
That's better.
Better. I'm going to plug in my headset. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, that's good. That's great. Nice and clear.
Okay, great. Faye, lovely chatting with you. I think what's important is to just get started in an area where you're very passionate, right? So whatever that core message of sex advocacy is for you, the more that you can really feel and share what's on your heart, I think is when it's well received in the world, right? And just having the courage and bravery to step out and start chatting about it. I would obviously say join Please Me, where you can connect with others who have a similar voice and message and get connected with a sex positive community and explore what really draws your interest and where you feel most passionate.
That's great. And Anna, what do you think is the best way to find your voice as a sex positive advocate?
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree massively there with Heather. it's finding really what it is that you feel strongly about. And for me at the time, well, it was 5 years ago that I launched Frolic Me, but before that, you know, I was always a very creative person and somebody who loved erotic imagery. And the one thing that I just never understood was, why wasn't there the beautiful erotic imagery you see in photography, for example, online? Why did that never translate across into films? And, you know, when I went looking for erotic films, I just never saw anything that really spoke to me, that actually said, wow, this is erotic. You know, they just, for me, we had lost sense of what was sexual and what was erotic. So I felt strongly on that. So I just wanted to produce films that I felt was really sort of said how I viewed erotica. And then on the back of that, things grow and you grow with it. And then you find yourself in a position like this, that actually you are championing sex pleasure, you are championing sort of being out there as a woman doing it. Whereas when I started, it was just all about creating just that vision of what I felt was erotic.
Yeah, that's such a good answer, Sam. I know that if just by getting your message across and out there, somebody like you who may not have heard that from somebody like you or who's like them will be attracted to it, and you'll be helping somebody somewhere out there. And I think that's particularly noticeable in like the sex blogging sector. You know, there really is something for everyone out there. It's totally agree. So I've got another question. Female pleasure has always been more taboo than male pleasure. Do you think we're really seeing a shift in that now, or is it mostly surface level? Who wants to go first?
Well, I would say we're definitely seeing a shift, and I think it's because we're willing to talk about it more openly. Just the fact that we're here now talking about sex, we've got a conversation going. People are listening, and that just filters through. It may take time. It doesn't happen overnight. But the more we feel comfortable talking about sex, owning sex, saying what we want with our sex, what we want for our own sex. So, you know, female pleasure is actually taken higher up the chain of topics, and it becomes less taboo. So I think, you know, it's just having that conversation and keeping it up there.
That's great. And Heather?
Yeah, I agree. I think that we have a lot to thank for the people that have been bringing information about gender identity. I think a lot of parents have been learning that their children have different views about sex and sexuality. And they're like, wow, well, maybe that gives me permission to talk about mine. I never got to talk about it when I was a kid. And I think that as we, as women, stop judging each other, because I think women judge other women just as much as men. You know, the slut shaming has gone both ways, and society as a whole needs to address that. And we can start by just congratulating each other and promoting, you know, when another woman is speaking about their sexuality, celebrating her and giving her support, and then doing it ourselves, right? Yeah, it starts within.
That's great. Yeah. Well, that's really amazing, and thank you so much for joining me for that panel. I think we're going to go on to a tech break now, but thank you so much for joining me. Anna Richards from Frolic Me and Heather Montgomery from Please Me Social. So thank you so much. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Right then, everyone. So now we're going to be taking a little bit of a change. We are now going to be taking a tech break to go on to the second part of the lockdown talks. So we're going to enter the immersive room of the sexual playground. It's going to be the end of me, Calandra Balfour, but I'm going to leave you in the very capable hands of Trisha. And she's got some really amazing guests and loads of fun. There's loads of interactive things going on. There's some bingo. There'll be the results from the giveaways. So you've got to hang around definitely for that quiz. And in the meantime, if you could do a social media post so that other people can find out about us. So SexTech 2020 is the hashtag on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. That would be really amazing, just to increase our visibility. Secondly, if you haven't already, or even if you have already, contribute would be really, really welcome, just to show your gratitude to the great team who put on this afternoon. It's been really, really enjoyable. I've had such a great time. And I know you have, because I've been seeing all of your chats as well. So contribution, social media, yeah, and just hang about for the next bit. All I can say, you've been really, really great. You've had some really great questions for us. And like I said, as a person in front of the screen, it's really great to see you interacting with each other and with us as well. So thank you so much. So right, hold on where you are, go and grab a drink, have a break, and 10 minutes time, maybe a little bit shorter now, the next session will carry on. All right, have a lovely evening.